welcome to my knitting podcast. My name is Monika and this is the 6th episode. I'm gonna start with what I'm wearing. This is one of my self-drafted patterns. It's an all-over cable sweater in the raglan style shaping. And yeah, it's knit up in Lykkegarn in the colorway Mars and superwash merino. I'm really happy with this sweater. I've been working on this for ages, since August, so it took me quite a few months, but I'm super happy, very pleased. For all of you that have seen this journey with this sweater, you kind of know all the things that were annoying me and my text and a lot of issues I had with it, though I loved knitting on it. I redid the collar last time, I think you saw the new collar. It's still a collar with German short rows to like make the neck a bit higher. I don't know how easy it's gonna be to see. Yeah. But last time I did this collar, I started top down. So when I had to remove the collar, I actually had to pick it up, cut it out, and then knit a new one. But I'm very pleased that I did that, because last time when I knit this collar, I knit it in the same needle size as the rest of the sweater, and it was kind of like sticking out a bit and just not laying very nice. So I am very, very pleased with how this collar turned out. Also, I had some issues with, let me see if you can see, previously I had holes along here where I increased, and I wasn't quite pleased because it didn't quite resolve itself in blocking as I was hoping, but I resolved it by kind of using duplicate stitch just over the increases, just to make the fabric a bit tighter. When I'm writing out the pattern, I have written a different type of increases here, so you don't get the same problem. This is a pattern that's self-drafted, and I am gonna release it. I just don't know when, because this pattern is the most complicated one, and I want to make sure it's easy to read and follow and accurate. I was also quite concerned because last week I only had like a tiny bit of the body left, and I worked really hard and got it done quite fast, and I put it on before blocking, and I was like, it doesn't quite sit the way I was hoping. It's a bit tight. It's even the part where this part where I had already blocked, it was like, I don't think it looks good on me. I was like, this is not what I wanted, and I was really discouraged, but I knew blocking would solve a lot of problems, so I was like, I'm not gonna make any decisions until after I blocked it. So I blocked it and then I put it on like 2 days ago, and I was just so happy. It sits so nice. It's cozy, it's warm, it's super wash, so it's not itchy, which I have had a problem with other yarns. I do always have a t-shirt under, but that's just because I'm not comfortable with wool straight like next to skin all over. But yeah, I'm very happy with this one. I knitted up. I actually ended up using 4.5 of the 5 balls I had. I'm pretty certain I could have used only 4 if I had fixed the neckline earlier and all of that. I just the parts I ripped out I didn't actually use. and I used 4mm needles for everything except the collar, where I used 3.5. I think that, yeah, 3.5. Yeah, I'm very, very pleased with this sweater. I am super happy it fits as well as it does, and that it lays quite nice and flat, because when I tried it on before blocking, it kind of looked stretched, and that's just, it looked like I was wearing a sweater that was a size too small, and that was just not flattering. This one is absolutely perfect. I love it. It sits so well. The arm length, perfect. I really nailed it. When I sit, it kind of slides down a bit, so it shows more, but it like, normally it's like exactly to my wrist, and I'm like super happy. I don't have to do the pulling up my sleeves and all of that. Yeah, and the when I'm sitting, my hem just barely touches my lap, and that's exactly where I wanted it to be. So yeah, I'm super happy. I'm gonna try and remember to put up a picture of me standing with it. I hope you forgive me if I forget. I will then try and include it next week. Yeah. So yeah, this is my all over cable sweater, which I'm very pleased with. And it's actually one of 3 finished objects this week. So yeah, it's been a very busy week. So yeah, I'm gonna show you. This is my first hiking hat. I have been working on this for like ages. I started in September. Wow, that's long. Yeah, and I had some issues. I got it done in the beginning of October, actually. Washed it, tried it on, and realized that the decreases I had then was giving this like a pointy part, which I didn't like. And I decided I had to redo it, and I just couldn't be bothered picking up doing it again. But this week I finally managed to do that. I think it's because I used the same needles for this sweater, so as soon as I was done with this sweater, those needles were kind of available. Even though I have a second pair in this size, I don't like that specific needle. Yeah. So when I finally had needles available, and I was like, what do I do now? I'm done with the sweater, it's blocking, all of that. I was like, I'm just gonna fix this issue. So I actually somewhere have a sheet where I was like calculating how many rows I need to get the same length, and how often I had to do the increases, and starting the decreases, and starting the decreases earlier to like get a more transitional part, I guess. I can show you how it looks now, so you can see the difference. This is blocked again because I couldn't decide if the issues were solved before blocking. So I blocked it, and I must say I'm quite pleased. As you can see, it now sits quite nice here, and I do have this tiny point at the end, but that's just because of the construction of the hat. It's not something I can actually do anything about, but I think it's kind of cute. Yeah, I think this hat sits very well now. It covers my ears, and of course I have glasses and a lot of hair, so it doesn't sit as tight as it could. The ribbing is quite flexible. So yeah, this hat for me actually has 10 centimeters of negative ease, which, to be quite honest, I thought that would be way too tight. Turns out when I blocked my swatch, I had probably like stretched it out a bit, so it wasn't quite right with the gauge. I thought I was knitting a size bigger, but to be honest, this is a better fit for me than the like standard 2 to 5 centimeters of negative ease. I think it's the ribbing that does it, because it sits tight without like squeezing your head. It just sits nice. So yeah, I love it. I'm very happy. The second finished object is actually also a hat, because as soon as I was done with this and blocked it and saw that it sat nice, I just did my husband's. So this one that was like barely this long last time is now done. I'm gonna have to make my husband try it on and see how well it fits for him. But like, it looks huge when I hold it up like this. Oh well. I haven't yet folded it along the line that I kind of made. I'm gonna do that now and try and see how it looks. Yeah, you can clearly see that this hat is a lot bigger than mine. I can show you a comparison. There you go. That's the difference. Oh, I know it don't fall off. Yeah. And the black one, actually when I hold it up like this, it's not that big of a difference. But it looks huge. I mean, I'm gonna try it on, just for fun. Oh wow. Oh, that's a very different look. But, actually, I like this. The kind of slouchy look. Ooh. Now this one has more like zero ease for me, I think. It's like exactly my head. Actually, I'm gonna measure that. It wasn't so bad. Maybe I do like the slouchy look. Let me see. 27. Oh, actually, this one has 2 centimeters of negative ease. So this is like the size that would usually be recommended for a slouchy look. I think perhaps I would rather have the size in between if I was gonna knit myself a slouchy hat. No. What is that? Yeah. I think this is too slouchy, but it's still kind of cute. Oh, and way too big. I mean, I could like really pull this down. Yeah. I hope it fits my husband well. He says he's not gonna abandon the hat he already has, but I would like him to have options. Just because it's nice. So I'm gonna just pull out the fold and put this aside with my own hat. So yeah. Those are the 3 finished objects, and this is a funny moment for me because I realized that I only have 5 projects, 5 whips at the moment. One of them is the blanket that I showed last time or the time before, the color pooling blanket. I'm not gonna bring that one out because that's a long-term project and it takes a lot of effort to try and show it, so I'm just not gonna bother with that one. I love it though, but I haven't worked on it in like months. Anyway, back to the 4 other whips I have. So yeah, first one is this pair of socks. Yeah. This pair of socks has been in the works for quite a while. I've been working on the heel flap now. Last time I thought I did the entire heel flap and was like ready to get into the heel turn. That's the term I'm looking for, yeah. Though I then realized I had miscounted because I thought I was knitting up a pair with 56 stitches, but then I remembered I cast this on before I realized that was more appropriate size for me. So this is actually 64, and that means I needed 2 more, or actually 4 more rows of the heel flap before doing the heel turn. I realized because I started doing the heel turn and I couldn't figure out why I got the wrong amount of stitches. It wasn't symmetrical, and it was just I couldn't figure it out until I suddenly realized I couldn't count. I have 32 stitches on each of the needles now, not 28. So yeah, I had to take back, and I think I still have 2 rows more for the heel flap before I can actually do the heel turn and then the gusset. But I haven't actually worked a lot on these socks because I was a bit annoyed with myself, to be honest. But yeah, these socks are knit up in Mrs. Fox glitter merino in the colorway Cold Shoulder, and this one is like in long grass singles in the colorway Angel City. This one is actual sock yarn, the purple one, the Cold Shoulder, kald skulder. This has nylon and also selena, which is why it glitters. You might be able to see, maybe. Don't know. And this Lykkegarn long grass does not contain any nylon. That's just 100% superwash merino. Yeah, and it's 2mm needle size because I sized down needles to get a better fit instead of decreasing the number of stitches as I have done later with other yarn. So yeah, the stitch marker here shows you I've literally only done 4 rows or something like that since last time. So not a lot of progress on these socks, though I do need to get them done soon because the cold weather, although it's not that cold now, the snow has sadly disappeared, but it's cold enough that I want to have an extra pair of socks because at the moment I'm only using the green and brown pair that I knit up a few weeks ago. More than that actually. Let me see. I got done with that almost a month ago. That's crazy. That was a long time ago. Anyway, those socks have been used a lot. But yeah, I need more. My other pairs were too worn out, so at the moment that's the only pair I have. Need more. So yeah, I'm gonna put down the socks. And look at the state of this yarn ball. This is, yeah, chaos. Pure chaos. When I'm done with this pair of socks, I'm gonna try and redo this, this yarn into a better ball. I'm gonna try at least. Putting this away. So yeah. Next project I actually haven't done a lot on. I don't actually know if I've done anything. I don't think I've touched it. I have knit like 1 row. This is the only pattern at the moment that isn't self-drafted because this is a PetiteKnit cardigan called the Champagne cardigan. It's knit up in 4.5mm needles and a yarn that's 100% acrylic that I bought at Rusta. It's called LN. This one is like the blue color, though I have noticed actually my local Rusta hasn't brought this yarn back since I bought all the yarn they had like a year ago or 2. Yeah, so this colorways on this yarn are very different between the different dye lots, but they don't mark the labels with neither their color nor their dye lot. So I didn't realize until I looked at their website that like one of the colors I really love that I have a hat in was just a different color lot of this, but it's like almost all blue. It's got no beige at all, it's just pure blue with slight variations. And then I realized I wouldn't be able to get that specific yarn anymore, so I couldn't make anything else out of it. That was sad. But yeah. So I'm not gonna buy any more of this specific yarn. I'm just trying to use up all the yarn I have, because I bought this while I was trying to figure out what kind of yarn I could actually tolerate. I'm very sensitive to wool, and before actually discovering hand dyed, I hadn't actually seen a lot of superwash yarn, and I didn't realize that I would be able to tolerate superwash a lot better than normal unsuperwashed wool. So I was pretty sure that I would only be able to handle like acrylic and other either acrylic yarn or like bamboo and cotton, which is why I have knit a lot of cotton t-shirts, but didn't have a lot of sweaters I had knit myself. Actually, I think this is like the third sweater I knit, which is quite crazy in my eyes. I've been knitting for so many years, but sweaters I didn't knit because I was so sensitive to wool. Yeah, crazy. But yeah, this one, this is the PetiteKnit champagne cardigan. It's usually in stockinette, but I thought that was boring, so I'm knitting it up in broken rib. And I must say, I really do like the increases I've been doing. I don't know if you can see it, but it's like a line here. Or two lines with broken rib in between. Yeah, I've been enjoying it, though I haven't touched it a lot, because this is more of I actually have to look at the pattern, not necessarily because the pattern is difficult, just to make sure I actually increase when I'm supposed to and not. And since I usually don't follow a pattern, I usually just wing it or like figure it out on my own while doing it. And for once I actually have to like do the counting and see that I'm actually doing it properly. And surprisingly enough, I usually have no problems reading my own knitting and seeing like now is the time when I'm supposed to increase because I have knit the correct amount of rows. But in broken rib, when you're supposed to increase to get the v-neck, I'm having a hard time reading it. And not like impossible, I just have to like actually sit down and like, there's an increase, there's an increase, there's an increase, here's where I'm supposed to have an increase. And that makes it a bit difficult. So yeah, I haven't touched it just because I couldn't be bothered counting so much. Which is probably why I should sacrifice one of my row counters for this, so I don't have to count. So I'm not sure if I have an extra. No, I do. I have an extra. I'm only using one at the moment because the other one I was using on this one, I think. No, actually I don't think I used a row counter for this sweater. Anyway, I'm gonna find that row counter and put it on here at some point so I don't have to do the counting. It can count for me. But yeah, not a lot of progress or any progress on this one, putting it aside. So yeah, that means we're actually on the last project before I'm gonna show you some of my plans and acquisitions, because having only 4 knitting projects is a bit weird for me. I usually have like almost 10, and this is too little, I guess. No, I have 2 more projects, of course, because I've only shown you 2 projects. I've only shown you whips. Yeah. So this is the third project. Not a lot of progress on this one either, sadly. I should show it the correct way around. I did talk last time about wanting to do the collar, and I just haven't bothered because all my needles are quite long. This is knit up in 2.5mm needles. And I usually only use those for sock knitting, so I use magic loop and therefore have like super long needles. And I couldn't be bothered picking up this and trying to do magic loop and the collar at the same time. I would just, no, I'm gonna measure how deep this is and find a pair of needles that's shorter and then do this. But not now. Couldn't be bothered. But yeah, this is going to be a sweater with a saddle shoulder. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm doing all the clicking again. These are the increases I've done for the arm. It's not so easy to see. But yeah. It's knit up in yarn from Strikkekista in the colorway Lollipop. I think the yarn is called Potential. Yeah, Potential. And yeah, slow but steady progress, I guess. I've knit 2 rows since last time, which kind of seems like a trend now. This is usually the project I have in my purse instead of the socks because I got bored of having socks as a project that I want to bring around. The last few weeks I've actually had this one in my purse, so it's taken a lot of space, but I really wanted to knit on it. But yeah. So this sweater hasn't got a lot of progress, though I did finally change the needles. I don't know if you can see, but I realized I was still using the 100 centimeter, I think that's 60 inches needles, and I changed it to 120, which I think is 80 inches. I'm not sure, I'm just saying what I think. But yeah, I changed it to a longer set of needles. I thought I had already done that, but apparently I hadn't. So I was very surprised when I looked through my needle stash. It's more like just a... I don't have a lot of fixed needles. These are all the fixed needles I have. That's mostly because I started with fixed needles. Because I only needed a few, and when I realized I was gonna knit a lot, I just immediately got an interchangeable set. A quite cheap one, but I still use it. I'm just gonna put this away. Yeah, putting it here. So now I want to get rid of most of those needles, fixed ones, that are larger than 2.5, because I have interchangeable needles for that. I have at the moment 2 different sets. I have one cheap set that are long, and I have this super cute tiny set which has like super short cables. That's also interchangeable. Those are, I think they're like 8 inches or something like that. I'm not, yeah, like the one of them is this long. I like checked. And I really love those because I use them for like the sleeves of things all the time. I have to find different needles to do the sleeves on these ones, unless I'm gonna do them magic loop style, but I don't think I'm gonna do that because I'm afraid that since this is 50% silk and 50% superwash merino, I might get a line, and I don't want that. Also, the quicker I get those needles, I can just use them as stitch holders when I get to the arms. So if I get 2 fixed needles, I can use one of them for the collar before I get to the arms, and then I can use them for the arms for the rest of it. That's the plan. I'm probably gonna have to switch to magic loop when I get down to the wrist, because I don't think I'm gonna find needles small enough unless I use like 9 what's called 9-inch needles, where you have like 3 needles to do the socks. I don't know. I haven't gotten a 100% good plan yet. I just know I'm gonna have to get a few needles quite soon. Yeah. Maybe today, if I have the time. Or else it's gonna be on Monday. Do I even have a reason to go downtown on Monday? No. I don't need to leave the house to do work, so unless I'm planning on going physically to work. Maybe I should. I haven't been physically at work for quite a while. Oh well. Anyway, this is my third web. It hasn't had a lot of progress. I'm still working on like the top part. In my language I call that bolen. I don't know. I don't think it has a specific name in English. But yeah. I really love it. It's very soft, very cozy. I want it done before Christmas, but I don't think that's quite realistic, because that's like a month and a half. Less than that. No, actually quite almost exactly 1 month and a half. But yeah, I don't think that's gonna happen. Trying to put this away now without too much clacking. Yeah, the last project I'm actually very excited about, because I have gotten a lot of progress on it. It is the sailor sweater. And sailor sweater. In my language I call it matrosgenser. And I've finally done 2 things. I picked up the collar and knit it to get a better feel for how it's gonna look. And I can see straight away it's gonna need blocking. But I'm very pleased. I don't know how well you can see. Yeah. I like the details around the neck. There, yes. Where you can see the increases. Or actually those are decreases, because I started under the collar and knit up. And I finally picked up and knit the armhole again. I have barely started on the increases to get the underarm shaping. I think I've knit like 2 increases, yeah. So this marker is where I picked up again to like get all the increases I had on away, and then knit 2 rows, and then when I got to this white part here I started the increases again. And yeah, so far I'm very pleased. I think it looks quite cute. And I'm pretty certain this is gonna look very well. I can see that when I'm washing this I'm gonna have to like try and straighten out the collar, because it kind of leans. But I'm very happy. Also, for once I did the Italian bind off, but I did it after doing the actual 2 setup rows that I've heard people talk about, which I hadn't done before, and I must say I really think it does all the difference in how neat this is. It looks so good. I've done Italian bind off on loads of things before, and I always felt like, okay, it looks okay, but it kind of always like flares out a bit. If you do it without the setup rows, it doesn't look as neat, in my opinion. This is knit up with 3mm needles, with my actual cheap needle set. I don't know if you can see it. They are color coded, so these ones are like rose gold-ish. it's fake rose gold. It's not like, I don't know if that's an actual, yeah, it's not gold needles. That would be ridiculous. But yeah, and the white yarn is Viking alpakka storm in the colorway 600, I think, or 500. It's at least white. And the turquoise one is Rauma MITU in the colorway 5775, I'm pretty certain. Gonna show up in the corner here. Name and all of that. Might have already been there. Yeah, there's not a lot more to say about this project. I don't know if it's gonna be short sleeved or not, because all the yarn I have is this, except for those that I already have in the basket. At the moment it's pure chaos because I have like the front and back are not connected yet, so I knit them at the same time just to make sure they're the same length. So I knit like the front or like right side on both front and back, and then I knit back the back side, and I just go back and forth until I can finally connect them. I figured that was the easiest to make sure they got the same length and I didn't lose motivation when I was finally done with one of them. You know, kind of like the second sock syndrome, but with front and back instead. But yeah, I'm very pleased. It's going very well. It's it's rolling like crazy everywhere, but yeah, I'm very pleased. Very, very happy with this one. So those are actually all the current whips, current projects that I'm knitting on. I'm just gonna have some water. So now I want to talk about some of my future projects. And those of you that have been here a while, remember I talked about this yarn, the yellow and the pink. This is not easy. There it goes. Yeah, this yellow and pink. I'm planning on knitting a saddle shoulder sweater with pink on the top, the saddle, and probably pink collar and cuffs and hem, while the rest of the sweater is yellow. That's my plan. I have decided to wait until after I'm done with the red sweater to see if I'm pleased with the way that saddle shoulder works out. Though I will probably use a slightly different construction. I will probably knit 2 rectangles that are the width of my shoulders, and then pick up and knit down the back and down the front, and then connect. But I want to see if the shaping of the saddle shoulder I have on the red one sits well, and since I haven't gotten to the splitting for sleeves yet, I'm finding it quite difficult to see how it looks. Also, I want to do the collar on that one before I actually try it on. So that project is on hold until I've gotten further with the red sweater. So I have a few other projects. I have a kind of a secret project. I'm gonna knit a sweater for a friend, and I'm quite excited. But I'm not gonna show that sweater probably on this podcast because I think he might see it. It's a friend of my husband's, and since my husband can't wear a lot of wool things, it's too warm, I was really excited when someone else asked for a sweater. So yeah, but I'm gonna show some of the yarn I've decided to use. This is a very nice, I don't know if you can see, like navy color. It's more blue than it kind of looks in this light. It almost looks purple, but it's very navy. It's Sandnes garn baby ull lanette. It's superwash. It's superwash because of two reasons. Easier to care for, and since I'm gonna have to send this sweater in the mail, I have no way of showing him how to take care of the sweater himself, so I have to kind of like trust that he will do it properly. I think you can wash it up, 40 degrees, but like don't tumble dry, obviously. And also don't spin it. I would hand wash it, but I know not everyone would do that, so I'm gonna knit up a swatch and wash it in the washing machine to see how it handles, and if it goes well, I'm gonna write down what I did with it, so he can do the same. I'm planning on making a colorwork sweater, though I haven't decided on the design yet, and also I'm planning on doing my own design. Yeah. So this is as far as I've gotten so far. I just decided I'm gonna do some swatching with this. I'm probably gonna end up with this yarn, but I'm gonna have to like wash a swatch and stuff like that to make sure that it holds out the way I wanted to. Yeah, that's the kind of secret project. I'm not gonna show the actual project, but I'm gonna show the yarn, just so you kind of know what I'm doing. I might still film the sweater and then put it in a separate video, like the secret project. That would be kind of fun. But yeah, so that's one of them. I'm gonna show this yarn again afterwards, but that's for something else. A few weeks ago, I knit up a black t-shirt, and I said I loved it so much I want to knit more, and I immediately bought this yarn. It's untold cotton merino. It's 53% merino and 47% cotton. It's not superwash, which I actually didn't realize until now. I would either way hand wash it, so it's fine. I do that with all my knits. But yeah, I bought this one, and you can see that this one is not as uniform in color as the black one, because the black one was like jet black, as in the name. So even though like I find this really beautiful, and I'm gonna knit a t-shirt out of it, or maybe more like a half sleeve t-shirt, I'm also gonna knit it in a bigger size. I'm gonna use the same pattern though. It's a self-drafted pattern with some cute details on the raglan increases and a V-neck. I'm gonna use the same pattern but a slightly bigger size, because the black one I knit fitted because I wanted it to look very professional. This one I want more relaxed. And when I bought the other yarn, I saw they had a sale. And they had a sale of the same yarn, but two different colors. And I couldn't resist. So I bought more of the same yarn from Untold. And I'm gonna make a t-shirt out of this too. I don't know what size yet, I don't know if I'm gonna use the same design, but I really, really, really love this yarn. And it was 50% off, so I couldn't pass up. But yeah, I don't know if I'm gonna like two different ones, or if I'm gonna make stripes, or what I'm gonna do, because I bought enough to knit two separate ones, but maybe I want to like do something fun. One colored t-shirts can get quite boring, both knitting them and wearing them, and I wear a lot of striped t-shirts, but don't know yet. I'm gonna cast on a t-shirt at some point. I don't know if it's gonna be straight away or not. Probably not. But yeah. These two colorways are called Vivid Violet and Poolside Blue, which are quite accurate. And this one is Deep Sea, which is also quite accurate. These two I feel are more consistent with the color, but you can still see the merino versus the cotton. It's not like the jet black where everything is super black. But I don't mind. I do really love the black t-shirt because it is so consistent. But in other colors that's not such a big problem because I'm not going to use them in the same professional capacity. I knit this black one because I wanted, for one thing, I wanted to look nice on stage when we're with my choir, but also because I find it very difficult to find professional looking black clothing that's not almost see-through or very thin and cold. And yeah, I want it to be a bit warmer, even though I'm supposed to like look good. So that's one of them. Sadly, I won't be. I was like knitting really hard on the black t-shirts to get it done for this weekend because we were planning on, or we are going to have a concert on with a theatre group, but they changed our the like clothing requirements, I guess, what we're supposed to wear. So we're going to use our summer wear instead of our winter wear, which means I'm not wearing black, which is sad. And I don't have any jeans, so I can't wear the white blouse that I've shown previously either. I actually have to use a dress I'm not too fond of, but that I bought specifically to wear as a summer outfit with the choir because I needed a summer outfit. But that's just a different story. I'm sad I'm not gonna be able to use the black one until our Christmas holiday concerts, but that's too bad. The last thing I want to show is there's gonna be a little story. Last year I saw a Stephen West shawl and I really wanted to knit that exact shawl. And I actually went so far as I tried to get a bundle. I wanted the yarn and the pattern package thing that he used to sell for that specific shawl. But the colors that was available, actually I don't think there was any yarn available when I tried to order it, so I ended up not ordering it at all. I decided to like name make it, I guess. I know I didn't do exactly the same, but it's like inspired by. I know from the photos that I did quite a few things different, but I'm gonna show it first. This is the shawl. I love it. The things that I know are different is I use broken rib hair, and I can see at the photos that probably it wasn't broken rib but some other type of rib. I also changed the frequency of these bees. This shawl is knit up in double Sunday, that's the light blue, and this turquoise one is Viking alpakka storm. I don't know the colorway, maybe I can find it. I knit this up last year, so it was before I started saving tags, so I don't actually have the tags for this. But this maybe a few months ago, I decided I wanted to wash all my winter wear, and I didn't think about the fact that this was not 100% superwash until after I had put it into the washer. Most of my other winter wear is acrylic, so it's not that, I don't care that much, and I was washing it at a low temperature, so it didn't matter. But of course, this was 100% wool, except for this alpakka storm, I think. I think it's alpakka storm. I think it's superwash. And I didn't like 100% felt, but it is felted. It's a lot thicker now, it's less flexible, less breathable, and since I always wear this as a scarf, I die when I'm wearing it now, unless it's like super cold. And I was really disappointed that I actually did that mistake in washing it. I mean, we all do that at some point, but I really love this, and I really wanted to use it. So I have decided to knit a smaller version of this one, just to like alleviate that pain. Though I'm gonna do a few changes. It's knit from this corner and down. I am, for one thing, gonna skip these stripes. I'm instead gonna do intarsia for the middle part. And I also, I'm gonna do less increases. So, as you might be able to see, this part is knit straight down and the increases are mostly on this side. Also, when I did the increases at the start here, I increased on this side all the way, and then I changed it to do the increases here. I'm not sure if I'm gonna do the same or if I'm gonna change that. Yeah, but I'm gonna remove these stripes that are like out here, because I did that so I only had to use 2 balls at the same time of this color, because this one is knit like intarsia style all the way down, while I used 2 colors stripes down here. And this stitch here is actually quite fun, because what you do is you just skip a stitch, you just like slip it, and then after a few rounds, when you do the next stripe, you I knit, cast on, and knit in the same stitch, I think it was. So you get a tiny hole. Yeah, knit, cast on, knit in the same. And on the sides, you kind of like knit 2 stitches together to remove the extra stitches you make. Maybe it's cast on, knit, cast on. There is at least 3 stitches in the same loop. Yeah, I'm gonna have to see what I did. Maybe do some trial and error. But yeah. So what these Turkish stripes, turquoise stripes, are in 2 rows, and I think I did the rest 6 rows. I might change that a tiny bit. Anyway, I'm gonna show you the yarn I have decided. The yarn I showed earlier for the secret project, I'm also gonna use for this project, because I only need 3 or 6 balls, depending. Probably 6. It's not gonna be as wide as this one, because this one is like super wide. It's asymmetrical, so when I got to the bottom, I just knit straight down. But I really love it. But yeah, I'm gonna use this for the main color, and then I have this other yarn that I've had for quite a while, chin fiber, which is super like variegated, loads of different colors. Yeah, it's called It's Yak Single in the colorway Pink Sky. This is superwash, and this is superwash, and I can then finally have the dream of having a superwash shawl, scarf. I'm gonna use it as a scarf, and all my dreams will come true. Or something like that. But yeah, so I think I have like 10 both of this, and I'm gonna do the swatching for the sweater to see how it holds up, and then I can also wash it and see how this scarf will hold up. And I think this is gonna be a good color combination, because since this is the background color, this is gonna pop a lot better, especially since I'm not gonna use it that much. So yeah, I'm hoping this is gonna go well. I have previously tried to replicate this one in other yarns, and I haven't been happy with it, but I think that was just the timing of when I was trying to knit it. But yeah, this means I'm gonna have to like cake this up. I don't know when. Probably not right away. I don't know. I still want to get more done on my current projects before I cast on anymore. I said that a few weeks ago that I had like a lot of cast on energy, and that's why I suddenly had an extra pair of socks on needles. I don't have that cast on energy at the moment. I don't want to think, I don't want to plan, I just want to knit. So when I do make the other shawl, I'm gonna make it smaller. I'm gonna do the increases differently. Maybe at a different rate, maybe at a different place. And I don't know if I'm gonna use broken rib. I had a period where I used broken rib for everything and I loved it. And I don't know. I mean, it makes a really nice border. I just don't know if I'm gonna bother with it. I don't know how well broken rib is gonna show up in this. It's very dark. It might not show up at all. Oh, and also it has an I-cord edge, which was I did the I-cord edge while knitting the rest of it. It's not applied afterwards, which to be honest is my favorite way of doing I-cord, because even though it's a bit cumbersome when you first start, then and it's not super neat at the corner, it's still better while I'm knitting it, and it looks quite neat all the way around, though the I-cord edge is actually the most felted part of this now. Quite sad. But it makes it a lot easier when you're kind of like doing the end, because you just cast off while knitting all the way over, and then when you have like only 6 stitches left, you just Kitchener stitch them together. Yep. Oh, here you can really see how felted it is. This corner, super felted. Can barely see the stitches at all. So yeah, I'm still gonna use this, but not as often because it's too warm and dense and a tiny bit itchy. It's always been a tiny bit itchy for me, even though this is double Sunday and therefore super soft and all of that. The second I got a tiny bit hot, everything itches, especially wool. So I have been living with it, but I have been dreaming of a cooler, less dense scarf in the same pattern. Been my dream for quite a while. So yeah, those are actually all my plans. I'm also planning on getting through more of this sock yarn, because it's only a few weeks until I'm going on like knitting festival, I guess. That's what I call it, though it's more like a yarn festival, with some other crafts too. So yeah, I'm probably gonna buy a lot of yarn at that festival in a few weeks. But yeah, I do want to buy another sweater quantity, because this one was when I bought this yarn. I bought on a knitting festival earlier this year, actually. Yeah, this spring I think it was. And I was like super excited, and I really love this yarn. It's hand dyed, so yeah. And I want more hand dyed yarn. I have realized that I don't need to only have hand dyed, which is why I now have started buying more commercial yarn. The reason I didn't before was because I found it very difficult to find yarn that I didn't find itchy, and almost all hand dyed yarn are superwash. It makes it a lot easier. Also, I was knitting a lot of socks, so almost all of this is sock yarn. So it got some kind of nylon in it. So yeah, I'm planning on not buying sock yarn. I'm gonna try and instead buy more sweater quantities, because I've started knitting sweaters. Yeah, so those are all my plans, and yeah, thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Like the video if you liked the video, and please subscribe. I'll see you all next week. Bye!